Welcome to eWith Diamond Interviews, where we spotlight the most extraordinary women in tech leaders who not only rise to the top, but do it with purpose, courage, and heart. Today, I have a pleasure of speaking with brilliant Aysha Khan, a visionary CIO and CISO who reminds us that success without a soul is never enough. Hi, Aysha. How are you?
Hi, Liliana. So glad to be here with you.
I know. I'm so excited about the topic. We decided to call this episode a soul upgrade. We will dive into what it means to lead with consciousness and how to stay grounded to your belief. So let's dive in. I think the first question, Aysha, is from inward to upward. How has your inner work shaped your outer success? And you've reached the top in tech world, right? But you've also said the top doesn't matter if you lose yourself along the way. Can you share how doing the inner work, connecting with purpose, staying present has guided your leadership journey and decision making?
Let me start with a quote that I truly believe in, which is success without self is a performance. Success with self is a transmission. So let me break it down. So when we say success without self is a performance, think about it this way. People who do not know what their values are, what their gifts are, what their mission is, they are in their day-to-day job, they are mostly just working. And then no wonder they're feeling burnout, anxious, depressed, or name any other thing. But now if you think about a situation where people know what their values are, what are their gifts, who they are, what their essence, in that case, you're just not doing a job. That mission, that purpose that drives you on your day to day, right? So in my case, what has happened is just like many of us up until 10 years ago, I would say. So I've been on my spiritual journey for 10 years. Before 10 years, I was that category, which was just performing. So performing in a sense that I was good at understanding my worldly gifts. What are my worldly gifts? The tech world, IT, security, or the things that we go to school for. But at that point, I realized even that I am on my journey to get to the top, something is lacking. There is that depth missing, the purpose, the meaning. And at that point, I realized, that's not going to be my story. So I'm going to figure out what's going on and do a deep dive. And that's what I did. And ever since, I've been on a journey to figure out one, what are my gifts? Second, what do I stand for? What are my values, non-negotiables? And then the third, what is my mission? What am I here to do? What is that my soul calling for? And Oliana, that journey has been the best journey of my life. And that's where I say I have fallen in love with myself, falling in love with the process of who I'm becoming. And with that passion and fire in my belly, every day I wake up with a mission that, now I know who I am. And with this clarity, I want to lead. So that is going back to the point. Now I have a soul, and wherever I show up, whether I'm a leader, I am a partner, I'm a mother, I'm fully alive and joyful.
That's beautiful. I've heard so many things in this share that you had a journey and now you're like flying. I could see you. I've met you just recently. So looking at you today, it really gives me like a full understanding that you're living a full life and conscious life. And you mentioned gifts. And when we met before, you said the gifts are not for you, gifts are for the others, right? Mm-hmm. It's your mirror and reflection. Can you talk about that a little more and explain how do we find gifts and how do we identify what are our gifts for the world?
I always say is our gifts do not belong to us. They are given to us so that we can share with the world. Think about this. Everything that's been given to us, if we don't use it, at the end of the day, we all have to die, so we are wasting our gifts. So the first thing is this understanding that our gifts do not belong to us. They are given to us so that we can share with the world. The next question is, how do we find gifts? And I can go on and on this topic for hours, but what I'll say is 2-3 practical things that I can share with the audience. And look, I've been on that journey. It's not that I have done everything. It's a never-ending journey, but that's the fun part because it's never ending. There's never a dull moment. You're like, okay, what else can I heal in my journey, right? So things that has worked for me, I'm going to share those practical examples. Number one, if you are feeling this gap or vacuum in your life, and you're like, you know what? I don't know what I'm good at. The first thing is reach out to 4 to 5 people in your circle, your good friends, acquaintances, family members, uh, colleagues, co-workers, even neighbors, whoever knows you best. 4 or 5 people, pick them. And then ask these people, when you think of me, what do you think comes naturally to me? And sit down with those answers, and you will be surprised to see there is some commonality, some pattern there, and follow that. So that's one way of doing it. So the point I'm making is the second practical way of doing it is think about people that you look up to and the qualities that you admire about them. And then you will see that there is a resonance. Quality that you picked is the quality that you also want to cultivate within yourself. And that should be a hint that somewhere that's your gift.
Got it. No, that's beautiful. And I think that it's sometimes we don't have time to pause and think and reflect and really find that moment where you think of who really do I admire in this world. And I have to think about it now. But you also mentioned find a way to love yourself. I think it's easy to say in a way that, but it's so hard to get to. I think especially for women that we're always running a question, I'm not good enough and I always want to be better, and find ways to find who you are deeply inside. Is there a way for you to discover and start loving yourself? How did you get to that point where you really looked at the mirror and said, yes, I'm very happy with who I am?
I'll share a secret with you.
Please.
And that is motivation is overrated, so ignore that. What I would suggest is go for identity change. And let me explain what is identity change. Look yourself in the mirror. And if you want to get more tactical, get a sticky note and a pen. And when you're looking yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, if I'm living my best life, how does that feel? How does that look? How do I show up? How do I act? How do I lead? In all situations, at home, at work, anywhere. And then think about that person while you're looking yourself in the mirror and say, what are the qualities that I admire to have in that vision or version? And start writing them down. And that's exactly what I did. I thought about who do I want to be? How do I want to leave my legacy? How do I want to show up in the world? And I deeply care about this question because I truly, truly believe my life matters. The way I live matters. The way I show up matters. My voice matters. My say matters. And if all this matters, how do I get to my best version? So one day I woke up and I told myself, whatever I was, that's not going to be my story. I'm going to get to my best version and I'm going to fall in love with myself. That's where my journey will begin. And then I took a sticky note and I wrote it down, all the qualities that I admire: honesty, sincerity, loyalty, leading with clarity, intentionality, passion, fearlessness, all those things were there. And on top of it, like kindness, smile more often. I'll tell you my success criteria for myself is, and you may laugh, is how much have I laughed today?
That's amazing. But I see that in you. I didn't know that you had to really come to that realization while really thinking about what you love about yourself. That's amazing.
So every night I ask myself, how much did I laugh today?
Let's add to that laugh, right? I like that. Is it a tank, like a laugh tank? I will always talk to my kids, how full is your laugh tank today? And they, when they were little and they were sharing, well, it's kind of half full. And then we talk and get deeper into it. It was like, well, let's fill the other half with something that gives you, happiness.
So that's what I'm saying. Use identity change to fall in love with yourself. You owe it to yourself. If you don't do it, what are you doing? And I promise you, and actually I'll give you a tip. Ever since, people ask me often this question, how did you get to the top? How are you so clear? How are you so calm? One, it takes work. serious work. But I'll tell you the benefit of it. Juliana, I can tell you this myth that spirituality makes you just peaceful. Yes, it has made me peaceful, but I have never been more ambitious because now I have the clarity of life. I know why I'm here, what are my gifts, how do I want to show up. I'm loving the journey to become the person that I want to be. And then from there, possibilities are immense. And I'll tell you, when I was on my journey to get to the top, before me becoming the version that I am, just like anybody else, I was also chasing success. The definition of success we need to redefine now. As I said, my definition of success is how much did I laugh today? Before it was how much influence do I have? What about money and all those things that people care about, right? When you are chasing, you are exerting more effort because you are not clear. You're just trying to do so many different things. Ever since I have become clear on my path, the worldly success has become a byproduct of what I do. Money, influence, platform, promotions, all these comes naturally to me as if like they are chasing me now.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a reverse engineering. You really find consciousness first, and then everything comes. And when you are not clear, you are always stressed, you are not balanced, not happy. You see the things that are not really going the way you want them to go, and you always pause. And I guess in the moments where you're not fulfilled, there everything kind of not following the right path. And question for you, or you're a successful CIO and CISO, and it's amazing to see woman leader like you in this world in high stakes role like yours. There's constant pressure to perform, deliver, protect. How do you stay anchored to your values, especially in the moments where success could come on the cost of your soul or well-being?
First thing that comes to my mind is I'm not here to impress anyone anymore. I'm here to serve. And that has become my true North Star. So in any situation that I am in, I'm asking myself a question. Is that true for me? Is this aligned with me? Is this aligned with the version that I want to be? And that has given me a new filter as a leader. Yes, I was always invested in people's success, but now I see leadership very differently. I show up with clarity because now I know I am in the business of building leaders. As I said earlier, technology, security, whatever your worldly gifts are, those are your worldly gifts. My spiritual gift has amplified to a place now where I have this clarity that I am here to bridge the gap between innovation and consciousness. And that's how I lead now.
Yeah. I feel that there is very rare moments when leaders today have that kind of balance. I think when we get to the point where you have to make decisions, you have to lead, and also there's so much inhuman element with AI coming in, and you have to be staying true to yourself with this new world. A question to you: are you feeling that there's things are changing with AI from the consciousness perspective, or it's actually empowering you when you find your grounding and you find your happiness? It's actually going to elevate you to the next level.
A couple of things that are coming to my mind. Number one, I always say human originality will never be replaced. AI is here to amplify what we do. It's not here to take our job. And I'm going to say something so bold and it may be controversial, but I don't care. And that's what I have become. Now I often describe myself in 6 words, which is living intentionally, passionately, fearlessly every day. So I'm going to say it.
Do it.
So what I see is AI is doing us a favor. The time that we human didn't have for ourselves. Imagine you and I are on the top. We are working a lot of hours away from our kids at times. And there were a lot of chores, Ulayana, which we didn't seem to care about. Like we just wanted an assistant or we wanted somebody to just do it for us. AI is going to come in and help us do all those things which were not necessary for us to be there for. So I really feel AI has done a huge favor to humanity. Imagine so many people I've met in my circles who are like, oh, I only wish if I had enough time, I would do this, A, B, C, D, whatever you want to name it. Finally, we have time and space to think, to do more than what we are here to do for our making sure, we are making our living. So I'm very optimistic and bullish on AI. I am seeing it in a very positive light. And I am literally every day using AI to my full benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have time with my kids.
I love your perspective. And I think because what you were sharing is like you be more connected to the soul and also what you really want to do instead of actually doing the tasks that you can outsource. You can have that be done by someone else and be automated while you actually practically doing a connection with people and connection with your family and using time in the best benefit, right?
Absolutely. AI has given me back so much of my time that I use now for other hobbies.
Yeah. And talking about hobbies and talking about your, kind of connecting every day to your soul, what does your day look like? And how do you do this check in the morning or in the evening? Hey, am I connected to my consciousness or not?
It's a constant effort, but I often draw an analogy. You charge your phone every day. You charge your laptop every day. I charge my soul every day. And for me, the best ritual that I have that works for me is meditation. So I start my day every morning with sitting meditation. Sometimes I go for walks. Sometimes there are other sorts of way for me to get to that state. But by far the favorite one is the sitting meditation because that just gives me that stillness that I need to get clear on reminding who I am, why I am here, what are my gifts, what do I need to amplify, and what are the three things that I will be tackling today. And with that intention, I start my day. I often say this, either you run the day or the day runs you. So after my meditation, I'm very clear how I'm going to run my day.
That's beautiful. I love the practical advice and also how you really wake up in the morning and you decide that this is your day to live, right? And not somebody else's. And also a lot of stigmas about the roles and titles and judgment, right? That runs around the world. I think there's always great time to really pause and look inwards and not pay attention to the noise around and be conscious to yourself. My question to you about the future of tech leaders, especially women leaders. There is a lot of movement happening that doors are opening, but still, I think there is a big gap between, when do we have the playing field for women to become true leaders and really inspire and become role models? Do you feel that with the future, 5-10 years from now, there would be a world that are more equal for women? And how do we support the sisterhood and really reach out to make more women successful, to help them and support them with consciousness?
You're asking me a lot of loaded questions. Consciousness is one topic. Man allies is another topic, and how do we support sisterhood is another topic. But let me try doing justice to this. First of all, I will tell you to any situation, there are two things. One, things in your control and things outside of your control. So again, I want to give a practical advice to women who are serious about getting into corporate America or want to get to the top. One, stop asking for permission, please. Only I kid you not, how many times I've seen, it's not that somebody's stopping them. I often say, if you see a problem, it is yours to solve. And in my day-to-day, when I see junior women reaching out and asking for permission somewhere, I will stop them and say, why are you asking for permission? You see a problem, go solve it. That's what leaders do. So what's in your control is working on yourself, getting clear who you are, what are your gifts, and then playing to your strengths. Number two thing you can do is when you show up at work, stop asking for permission. All my life, except one boss, many of my bosses were men. I didn't ask for permission. I just showed up. If I saw a problem, I figured out how to solve the problem. And it's not that I'm going to go and promote. What I would do is, now that the problem is solved, I would go and tell my boss there was a problem and I took care of it, done. And what happened in those situations is, and at that point I did not realize, but now I'm a boss myself and I see how they might have thought about it. When we see people showing up, when we see that they see problems and without asking for permission, they're solving these problems and then they're just coming and telling us, hey, there was a situation that I took care of. This person knows how to make my life simple. This person is a driver. This person is a leader. And I want to give this person more opportunities to grow. I often tell my team, instead of asking me how to help you grow, show me your gifts, show me what you're capable of doing, show me the possibilities of what you are capable of. Open that chamber for me so that I can put you in all those places. So, again, my advice for women is stop asking for permission. You're a leader, you see a problem, go solve it. That's what leaders do. And then people around you will see you and they will open doors for you. Now, what's not in our control, that's where I also have compassion, our male allies. I don't necessarily think our male allies are getting in our way. I feel they just don't have the awareness. They also need education, guidance, training, consciousness to say, how do we show up better? How do we support better? So I think my take and my mission is to help both men and women go in that direction where I stand up with my male allies to show them what support looks like. And I stand up with my women allies and say, this is how you show up. And I think that's how they're going to solve the problem.
That's beautiful. There's so many things that I've learned from our conversation. And to summarize, I think we always have to stop and think if we're in a burnout stage or something is not working, that we have to look within, find ourselves, our gifts, start loving ourselves, put this on somewhere that you actually always go back to it and charge your batteries and think about it. And also bring people's gifts as well into the world, that you can understand who you're working with and how to amplify their voices and their consciousness. And for me, I think the most important in our work, in amplifying female voices, is really help them see their gifts and also be just be bold and go for it and be conscious, but also love themselves. And it's very hard work, right? Like you said, but I'm very happy to see that you've shared from the heart. And it's really, truly today, it's about soul upgrade. And we can actually use AI and tools to have more time to pause and wait and actually be connected to ourselves.
You just said it. We have spent centuries upgrading systems, infrastructure. It's time to upgrade our souls. And I promise you, once we upgrade our soul, everything else falls into place. And anyone who's listening to this podcast and feeling I'm in a phase of my life where it seems like things are falling, what I'm sharing is things are not falling. They're actually falling into place. Just pay attention.
That's so beautiful. I love it. This is kind of a summary of our podcast today. And I wanted to thank you for honest conversations, because I think sometimes when we reach certain points, we want to be, closed and a little bit into ourselves. But thank you for sharing your journey, because I think that's so beautiful. And knowing you for who you are today, it gave me a lot of inspiration, and I wanted to share with everyone your story. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to see everyone on the next podcast, and I hope you follow us. Thank you.